All right guys, I got my guy Jake in the chair. I just basically finished the haircut. All we have left is to cut the top, and you guys can see he does have a little bit of a receding hairline issue, if you want to call it that. And I just asked him permission. I said, hey man, I know we were just talking about it. This is something a lot of barbers struggle with, and would you be comfortable with me recording, showing how I cut it? So I'm going to show you guys today how to cut it to make sure that you don't ruin it. And that is part of the reason he comes to me. He saw that I took some scissor classes and learned a little bit more in depth. And he said, hey man, I'm a little uncomfortable with my hair sometimes when I get it cut and it shows really bad. You think that's something that you can handle? And that's why he's sitting here. So I'm going to turn him around. Got the white smock on for some scissor work. Better get rid of these gloves, and I'll show you guys how I do it. All right, guys, so the end goal here is to just give him a nice, clean, consistent front hairline. And you guys can see, especially if I pull it to the side, we got no hair in these corners, right? So that is what a receding hairline is. Mine is the same way. We're missing, you know, this much hair that maybe he had back when we were younger, you know? And so the problem is, guys, the reason that people mess these haircuts up is if I pull the hair straight out from where it grows. So the first hair we have is right here on the front of his head. If I pull this up and I cut it 2 inches, right? Let's say that's 2 inches, and I drop it down, it's gonna land right here. Well, if I go over here to where he's receding, look where the hair starts growing. So if I cut this 2 inches and drop it down, it's gonna be right here. So we're talking about basically the distance from this follicle back to this follicle where it starts to grow. If I cut it all even, it's gonna land that far apart. And so that is why we end up with people showing their receding hairlines after a haircut. And when it's not cut on purpose, that's what we're gonna do. So you can even see already just naturally how it grew out. This is way darker and longer. And we really need this hair that's left in the corners to make sure that we can cover those corners. So I'm gonna show you guys how to go about cutting that. I'm gonna go ahead and wet it down, and then we'll get started with the scissor work. All right, you guys can see I wet the hair down, I'm combing it forward. Now with the hair wet, you can especially see where it's thinner, obviously from about this section out. So what we're gonna do, like I said a minute ago, we need the hair from all the way back here to help us cover these corners. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically stop from the apex of the head, which is right about here in the middle, right above the ears, and everything forward from there, we're gonna leave alone. So I'm gonna go ahead and comb across. I'm looking, I'm gonna comb all this forward, and this will be tackled as part of the front. We're gonna just tackle it from the front. We're not gonna cut it by pulling it up and bringing it back here. But all this hair that I'm combing back, we're gonna cut as normal and tie into the rest of the haircut. And then I will show you guys how to connect the two together. All right guys, so I started off by doing block graduation, setting my length right here on the side. So I have a length. Once I take this hair up, you guys will see it start to fall out, and that's where we're gonna cut it. So I'm just gonna comb this section up, cut it straight across. Without getting that front, we'll come here, same thing. Once it starts to fall out over here, and you can see where I cut right there, straight across. Now we got a pretty small section here, right? Because half of his head we have combed forward, and we're gonna tackle that separate. So just a small section here, all the way across, nice and even. Probably like 1 or 2 more back here. And we're done with the top already. Well, we got the front left. So now what I wanna do, guys, I wanna comb it straight forward. I really wanna pay attention to where it starts to get thin. So I'm looking at my comb lines. I can see where it's growing here. I can see where I need to leave it. So I'm gonna go ahead and section that off. Take that to the side, and we wanna make sure that we save that. So you guys see it ties in on the side, but we're actually gonna style it forward, and we're gonna use some of that hair. So same thing on this side, we're looking for where it gets full. You can really come all the way up here if you want and see where it's the longest. And then you can see where the hair is that you need to leave that's gonna help us cover up some of that. So I can even see now that it's combed out of the way that about those hairs right there need to be included in the front. Comb all this out of the way. Again, that's gonna help us cover our corners. All right guys, you can see I got them sideways, so I'm gonna show you how to tie this in. We've already cut back here. So what I'm gonna do is take about half of this section, pull it up. You guys can see where it's cut. And remember, we need some length in the front. So we're gonna just angle up a little bit from what's already cut towards the front. We're gonna tackle the fringe all the way from the front with it laying down. So I'm not worried about it if it's a little too long. Continuing that up. Now I'm gonna come to this other side of that section, bring it over, cut the same line in. So technically we got a little bit of disconnection here on the top from the side where it's thin to the rest of the top, and we're cutting it accordingly. Now if you guys don't do what I'm doing now, it will be too heavy at the front, and you'll really obviously be able to tell that it's thin on the sides and heavy in the front. So I'll show you guys after we get this done how to tie it all together. Last section from the back where we already cut. Forward, Should be able to see your guide underneath, and now the whole top is cut. All right, so before we tackle the front lineup, I'm gonna go ahead and dry the hair so that the clippers or trimmers will cut through it super nice. So I'm just gonna shake it out, blow dry it, and then we'll come in and tackle this fringe. All right guys, so what I'm looking at now is where I'm gonna make the line to kind of clean this up. So remember, we left the hair here where we needed. I can see kind of where my length from the side is hanging, and that's where I'm gonna start it. So I'm just combing this out, and we're just gonna cut it a couple times. He's gonna wear this loose and really style it, you know, to keep the hair where he needs it. So I just have to clean it up and give him kind of a baseline. So we're just gonna work from one side. He is not gonna wear it all lined up like this, but this is just my easiest way to get it nice and clean. So you guys see the middle is obviously the longest, again, because it grows so much further down. So we'll go through, we're just cleaning up that line all the way over to the other side. Now one thing here, because we have hair going so many different ways, you guys will see if we change it, if we comb it different, we can get a long piece somewhere that maybe we didn't want. So I'm just gonna comb it around a few times and make sure that it's good. Maybe come through here one more time. Make sure we have everything cut down. You guys can see we got a nice foundation all the way across. This piece right here is a little bit heavy, so I'm just gonna kind of take the corner where it's a little bit heavy, bring it out, just take off that tip that was a little heavy, soften it up a little bit. Now one big tip, guys, you want to use a matte product. You do not want to use a shiny product. So I have Tomb45 Indestructible Clay and our powder, and both of these are going to be a dry look, not a wet look. You guys saw when I wet it down, it was even worse than before. So we just want to use a dry look. I'm going to just kind of pull his hair back, dust this in, and really we just want to bring out kind of a messy look that he has, that he likes to wear. And again, that's going to allow him to kind of shake it out, put the hair where he wants to put it. And you see the dry look is not making the hair look any thinner. We don't want to do that. Guys, I use the same type of products in my hair because I have the same problem. All right guys, now I'm gonna use a wide tooth comb, and this is gonna help me comb it out. For one, that powder is really sticky, and a fine tooth comb will just really wreck the client's head. So using a wide tooth comb, you guys see it, even this just stuck in it. So it does have a little bit of static going on. You guys can see now, because we cut this section down, it took away some of the weight that would sit right here. And you see now we can kind of comb this out, cover his whole forehead, give him kind of just a loose, messy style. You guys can see we got a consistency all the way across versus being so obviously light in one corner. All right, so you guys can see there, finished product. Obviously, guys, we still can kind of see some of the texture seeing through where we use the wide tooth comb, but you know, we can't put hair back on. We can just work the best with what we have to do. So you guys can see how we kind of evened it up, made it look consistent all the way through, and he has some hair to cover and kind of wear messy and look a lot more consistent than when we started, when it was just kind of hanging down in the middle and thin on the side. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you want another solid tip video, click right here and check this video out. I'll catch you guys next time.